This is Brent Obleton, Columbus, Georgia, and you're in the field with the Trackstarz.
Back in the field with the Trackstarz, Ryan Righteous, Seantana, DJ Jeremiah. All right, let's get into another Noteworthy. This one's going to be fun. It's going to be real fun. This one's called Bitter and Thirsty Women of God.
What's it? Woman?
Huh?
Woman of God.
No, women. All of them. All right,
It's a group of them?
There's a lot of them.
It's a group of them.
All right, here we go.
This person's in the group, or are they just...
They are.
Okay.
They're in the group. All right.
Okay.
It says, hey, Trackstarz. I've been with y'all since Beyonce versus Kiara Sheard, the first line for line. We'll talk about that. Which Beyonce won. Who can beat King B? Anyway, I'm in a situation that needs your guys' help. I'm in my mid to late 20s, and I'm a Christian. I'm tired of being a bridesmaid in weddings. The last wedding I was in, I almost got into a fight with the bride because I was jealous of her happiness. Now I'm a very bitter woman. I find ways to be negative to my friends that I know are about to get married. But I must admit, I am thirsty. I don't care who he is as long as he is Christian. When I date, I run into some problems from me being thirsty. I dated a guy who was engaged at my church because he gave me attention. When his fiance found out about it, I just blew it off like it is what it is. I listened to your show, and one of the women said that she walked out the possibilities of her never getting married. I laughed at her. I knew she was in drought, like artist Sincere from FMG said. Talk about that later. The guy I'm dating now has a rep at my church for being a player. I gave him a chance because he gave me a lot of attention. But then he dumped me, and I now feel like getting revenge on him. I've been calling his job and leaving messages on his phone. But I stopped once I found out he got one of the praise dancers at my church pregnant. But I really love him, and I want to get back with him. So Trackstarz, I like your little Noteworthy segment. Can you help me out with some advice? Bitter and thirsty women of God. Leg up.
Where do you start?
So my sister gave me an idea to actually do it in segments because it was a lot. It was a lot of different things that she was talking about in that one. So before we go, let's break it down into chunks. So she introduces herself. First thing I just want to point out, she said, I've been with y'all since Beyonce versus Kiara Sheard, the first line for line. Now this is for trivia. We may bring this up later. You know what? Let's do it now. Prize. I'm going to give away a prize. I'll announce it next week. Whoever can tell me on Twitter, soon as you can, first person, because you could be listening live. First person to tell me what our actual first ever line for line was, I'll give them a prize.
That's what's up.
So I'm not even going to tell you what it is. I don't know yet.
Okay.
Oh, you know what? Trackstarz t-shirt.
Uh-oh.
You get a Trackstarz t-shirt if you guess correctly. So just hit me up at Sean David Grant on Twitter or at the Trackstarz on Twitter. First person I see.
Another Twitter account?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
How long you had that?
Coming up in a while.
Like 2 weeks.
What?
Something like that.
You don't say anything on that one, do you?
Yeah, it does.
Anyway. No, I'm reading. She said anyway.
Wow.
I'm just, all right. So anyway, I'm in a situation. I just followed you, so you said.
Oh, cool.
I'm in a situation that needs your guys' help.
Who's this? Who are you today? Okay.
I'm in my mid to late 20s, and I'm a Christian. I'm tired of being a bridesmaid in weddings. The last wedding I was in, I almost got into a fight with the bride because I was jealous of her happiness. Now I'm a very, very bitter woman, and I find ways to be negative to my friends that I know are about to get married. Let's just deal with that. Let's deal with that first.
Either I
think
haven't
about
had a
that?
sleep or you already read that.
Yeah, I'm breaking some chunks.
Gotcha.
Come on, man.
All right.
Al Boogie. Ladies gotta talk about this.
What do you think?
This is terrible.
A little ratchet.
This is terrible. I don't want to be judgmental. I don't know who you are, but you have some issues that need to be dealt with. You are coming from a very bitter place, and I mean, what you're saying, it just sounds ridiculous. And I know we all go through things and we deal with stuff, And I'm hoping that you'll get to a place where you can look back at this note and realize how ridiculous it sounds. There is no excuse. Loneliness or, desires to be married or whatever, there is no excuse to behave the way you're behaving. You're doing some messed up stuff, and you're doing it out of loneliness and not wanting to be alone. And that's not cool. And it's not going to get you happiness. You're messing with people that are dating other women. So it's not going to help you in the end. Like, you really need to get to a mature place. I mean, I don't know how mature you are. The letter sounds immature, so I don't even know if you can receive this. I hope you can. But you really need to retreat back and get some help. If you're at a church, if there's someone mature in the faith that can help you out, you need to reach out to them, and that's where you need to start. Because I don't even know what advice to give you right now, because I feel like you're in a place where you can't even receive wisdom.
But tell her how you really feel, though.
I am being honest, and I mean, you can get. I make it cussed out. I don't care, because I'm gonna keep it real.
This other girl in the room said something. I laughed at her too.
Well, you can laugh at me, but whatever.
Can I just say two things right now, at least? The first thing is, the Bible says that God rejoices, or tells us to rejoice with those who rejoice and to weep with those who weep, and like literally, if you can't put that into practice, then God really isn't able to bless you. Well, he's able to do whatever. He probably won't, let me say this, bless you with a husband of your own until you can really put that into practice, number one. And then number two, when you say you'll date anybody as long as they're a Christian, it sounds like you're taking them at their word instead of their lifestyle, because you dating somebody that's engaged to somebody else doesn't sound like a Christian to me. It sounds like somebody who goes to church and may say they know about Jesus, but I don't necessarily know if that person has a real thriving relationship with Jesus, especially if they're dating somebody outside of their fiance. So you really should find somebody, if somebody you trust, somebody that's more mature in the faith that can really help you to pinpoint what Christ-like character looks like, because that's what you need to look for instead of whether somebody says they're a Christian.
Maya, what's that on your finger?
It's my lovely...
We'll get to that.
Anyway, okay. So
what do you say if she doesn't want to do that, though? Because it sounds like she doesn't want to do that. She's content with what she's doing.
Oh, I had another point to go to.
She would have wrote this letter if she was content.
Okay, so
to
what Maya said, I went through the same situation where I had my sister get married and my best friend get married all within a month of each other.
Yeah.
And then right after that, the next person that was closest to me was Sean, and he met Alfie. And I was so happy for him. And I was so happy for them. And nothing was going on in my life. But it just so happens that I actually met my wife and got married before Sean did. And it wasn't planned that way. Mm-hmm. So you just never know what God will do for you when you rejoice with others. Like, I was so happy for Sean. Like, you really would have thought I was going through it, because I knew that he needed this more than anybody. He needed it more than I needed it. And so that's the thing that gets you promoted. Now, I will say this too. I know somebody like you, but he's a male. And I always told him this, and this is going to sound bad, but you don't qualify for the man that you're looking for.
Dang.
And the reason I say that, is because... No.
That's
Seriously, the reason I say that is because all the things that you say you're looking for, you're not those things. For a man to come and find you, he's not looking for somebody who would be with someone who's coming into a relationship that someone's engaged in. He's not looking for just anybody. He doesn't care if they're just a Christian. That can mean so many different things. So you have to qualify for the type of person that God would send your way. And right now you don't qualify for that, because the person that God would have for you, you're not matching with the standards that they're standing for right now.
I will attest to that. Ryan was he never, ever got jealous or bitter when somebody else was getting married. And God, I know for a fact God blessed him for that. He celebrated as if he was getting married, or if he was in a relationship. That's how you need to be. So second piece. She said, I must admit I am thirsty. I don't care who he is as long as he's a Christian. When I date, I run into some problems from being thirsty. I dated a guy who was engaged. I think we talked about this. Y'all kind of leaked into this. So let's get to the juicy one. I listened to your show and one of the women said that she walked out the possibilities of never getting married. I laughed at her. I knew she was in drought like artist Sincere from FMG said. All right, so there's a lot of meat in that sentence, and you may not know who all the people she's talking about.
What's that on your thing?
The first person is right here, Maya.
What's that on your thing?
Hi, bitter, thirsty young lady. And you know what? As this is just a side note, because we were trying to figure out what conversation is she talking about. I have said that a couple of times, but what made me think about it being an earlier conversation is because Ernest had the whole "you're in a drought" conversation back in the day, and that's what I think when I said it one of the first times. But you know, I have walked out that possibility, and I am now engaged. So, and I think when I said it, I was engaged or at least dating somebody at that time.
Oh, you know, it was last week.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know if that's valid. I mean, I walked it out, so I don't really know what else to say to that.
So if you don't understand what Maya's talking about, Sincere is one of the artists on the group that we do, FMG, Freedom Music Group. And he got a lot of heat for a topic he thought up called the drought, where he basically said that, and I wish he was here because I don't want to misrepresent it. So if you want to find it, go back to our old podcast and search on the Trackstarz Radio website for the drought.
On YouTube clip too.
YouTube clip is out?
Yeah.
Okay. So the gist of it was, if you're a young lady and you're in your late 20s, early or late 30s, and you find yourself single, some of that may be your fault because you may have passed up on somebody who was good for you and it was a good Christian man, and you didn't think much of him. You thought you could find another one later, and you didn't. So you're in a drought, and he was saying that don't call all guys bad or whatever. They're just looking this up. Now, he got blasted for that in a lot of different ways. He still stands by it, though. Because he's done case studies and things like that, and he's seen it work out. So just, take it up with him. But she's basically saying that Maya must have been in a drought because she had that mentality, and I'm here to say that's completely false. If you're a Christian and you're living the way the Bible prescribes and you're being celibate, and if you go back to the Noteworthy called The Life I Want Is Wrong, you'll know what we're talking about. If you're being celibate and you're saving yourself for a godly marriage, at some point you have to be okay with that marriage not coming. You have to be okay with being celibate for the rest of your life, and if you're not, you may be doing it for the wrong reasons. Yeah. So that's what the context was, and that does not mean you're in a drought. That does not mean there's something wrong with you. That's a healthy way to look at your life. Don't get depressed. Don't fall into like a negative thinking about yourself, but you do have to be prepared to follow God at all costs.
Sean, aren't there a couple of books that you can recommend that that you read to help you out?
Oh man, there's a book called Boy Meets Girl I read by Joshua Harris that helped me out a lot, and it's a DVD series called Song of Solomon by I'm starting to forget his name now, something Nelson, and just look up Song of Solomon by Nelson. You'll find it, and it'll help reshape some of the thoughts that you're having, and hopefully, like Ryan said, you'll start to qualify for the person you're looking for. So let's deal with this last piece and just wrap it up for her. It says, the guy I'm dating now has a rep at my church for being a player. I gave him a chance because he gave me a lot of attention, but then he dumped me and now I feel like getting revenge on him. I've been calling his job and leaving messages on his phone, but I stopped once. I'm sorry. Okay. I stopped once I found out he got one of the praise dancers at my church pregnant. Oh, I was watching SVU all day, so this is some. But I stopped once I found out he got one of the praise dancers at my church pregnant. But I really love him and I want to get back with him. What do you feel about that part of her life?
You know what's so funny? We're laughing, but they're looking like dead serious.
This is because as a woman, this is disheartening, because you see women like this that are troubled, and some of them, that's just a mindset that they've adapted. And I don't know anything about, your background or how you've grown up, or if there's any issues that you're dealing with underneath. But I just feel like you're putting out this image. You're in a drought. You know, you may be coming across these guys, but they're taken, they're engaged, they're getting other people pregnant. So you're not with them, technically. You're not. And you need to let it go. Like, stop it. Don't call this guy. You need to let it go. You have to deal with the loneliness. You have to walk through that hurt and just be uncomfortable, because you're just going to end up lonely anyway by doing this. Nobody's going to want you if you're doing that. No one that's worth wanting, no one that really has a heart for God, a real man of God, is not going to want you if you're behaving this way.
But we love you though.
Yeah.
Seriously. No,
we do.
We actually do love you, and we want you to make good decisions. So don't get us wrong. We're just hoping that you see that some of the decisions you're making may not be the best for you.
And I just want to say this too. I think that you'll find that you would be offending most men of God, that you're holding them to the standard of a man that you love, who's gotten the praise dancer pregnant, and you love this man, even though you're looking at all the sin that he's committing and the way that he's living his lifestyle, and you're saying that you love something about this man, you love something about his lifestyle. That is offensive. And when I said you don't qualify, I'm not talking about you because I don't know you. I'm not saying that anything, about you, because I really don't know. When I mean you don't qualify, meaning that the person that God is sending to you isn't thinking at the level that you're thinking at right now. So right now you haven't brought your thinking up to qualify for the man of God.
Well, here's the thing, and I've said that to somebody recently, and I had to figure it out when I was young. I think you like drama.
Oh yeah.
And no, I'm serious. Like,
no, serious.
Some people, almost everybody at some point in their lives, likes the drama of the relationship problems. It gives them something to talk about with their friends. They could come back and be like, "Can you believe what so and so did? Oh my god!" It makes them feel like their life is interesting. And I think at some point you have to decide, I don't want to deal with the drama anymore. I don't need that in my life. And you may feel like, oh, that's so boring. I know girls that actually say, I don't want a nice guy. I want him to treat me bad. Like, that's how much they love the drama of life. And you have to, if you really want that thing that your heart wants, you have to opt out of the drama. You have to say, I don't want any part of that.
There was a sentence that you wrote that just broke my heart, where you were saying, you basically went out with this guy who already has a reputation of being a player because he gave you attention. And that right there, first of all, I appreciate the fact that you're honest enough with yourself to acknowledge that's why you even entertained a relationship with this guy who's not worthy of your attention. But you've got to pinpoint why it is that you thrive on attention from other men, because that's not gonna fly. Even when the man that you want comes along, you can't feed off of that. You've got to settle the whole piece of why you want attention, why you feed off of it. And honestly, it's going to require you to starve that. It's going to require you to starve that need for attention, which means going without it for a period of time so that you can be content with who you are, whether somebody is giving you attention or not.
And I just have one last thing to say. The Noteworthies are supposed to be anonymous, and I think that's what's protecting you right now. But imagine all the things you wrote to us, being on Facebook, being on Twitter. Those are the things that would make you ashamed of the way these things are coming out of your mouth. And I think if you start to admit these things to yourself, it will help you in the process of cleaning things up.
All right, man, that's Noteworthy. Hope that helps.
A little vice.
A little Noteworthy segment that we're trying to get off the ground here.
We love you. We do love you.
Except
and we're praying for you for real, like for
Seriously.
real.
Send us an email.
Lauren sound like a mama.
Well, I mean, I don't mind giving harsh truth because that's important and is needed sometimes. But I mean, continue to write to us and give us updates because we want to know, and if we can help, we're here for you.
She won't.
I mean it.
You in the field with the Trackstarz, Ryan Wright, Seantana, DJ Jeremiah. Let's go.